Chief of Staff Bracy.
Here.
Treasurer Carter is also excused for common hour. Parliamentarian Reams said that they were on their way. Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Chair Broyard.
Here.
Communications Director Boba.
Here.
Recording Secretary Foxhole. We do not have
Should be here.
for them. They should be on their way as of right now. Graphic Design Coordinator Fazell messaged me saying they weren't feeling too well, so they are excused. President Pro Tempore Graysinger has a meeting with like her graduate program or whatnot, so they're excused. Senator Marinari is sick, so they are excused. Senator Tudor, Senator Mahan, Senator Wagenhofer, Senator Rial,
Here.
Senator Tate is excused because they are meeting with the professor. Senator Woodyard,
Here.
Senator Harris, Senator Bartley, excused. Oh yes, excused. Dr. Sport. Senator Zamora, Senator Brown, Senator Adams.
Here.
Thank you. May I also say when I call out you guys' names to say here just for the record so that it can be noted on there. Senator Rangel.
Here.
Senator Pearson is excused. Senator McLaughlin is also excused. Senator Pearson was in an injury. We hope they have a speedy recovery, and Senator McLaughlin is sick. Senator McHugh,
Here.
Senator Atkins,
Here.
and then all four Senator at large: Bueno, Roche, Frazier, Montero. Are any of them here?
No, they're all excused.
Okay. I know they're excused. I was just asking if they were. So they're all excused to class. So now that moves on to our next order of business, approval of the minutes. The minutes were sent out yesterday with the agenda. Does anyone have any corrections to the minutes? Senator Mahan?
Not a correction to the minutes, it's like a procedural question. What happens if not half of us are here? Like, can we still vote on things, or do we need like a certain amount for quorum?
Here, do you want me to count real quick?
Yeah. Chief of Staff Bracy, will you please make sure that we have quorum? I believe we'd be able to approve the minutes. Would we not? At the very least, we'd be able to approve the minutes in general.
I wasn't asking
What-
specifically about the minutes, just like in
Like
general.
for quorum, yeah.
We need 11 for quorum, and we have 11.
Okay, yes, we are at quorum, so we're all good. With that said, is there any corrections to the minutes that anyone would like to make? If there are no corrections to the minutes are approved.
Oh, actually, I do have a correction to the
Senator
minutes.
Mahan?
My last name is spelled wrong. It's Mahon, not Ann.
Okay, those will be corrected in the minutes. Parliamentarian Reams, I saw you.
It says I said mostly focusing on the students struggling with what's going on in Israel, but I just said the tragedies itself.
Okay, that will be corrected to reflect that. Are there any other corrections to the minutes, and are those two corrections acceptable to everybody? With both those things being true and good, then the minutes are approved. They would be correct. We'll now move to the approval of the agenda, which was also sent out yesterday. Are there any corrections to the agenda? Being that there are no corrections to the agenda is approved. Moves us on to our guest speaker, Marlon Collingwood, Vice President of Enrollment. Marlon, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. How is everybody?
Good, how are you?
Well, I'm gonna ask it again. It doesn't sound like you're very good. It's Monday, I know. How is everybody?
Good.
Good. I've met some of you. I'm Marlon Collingwood. I'm the Vice President of Enrollment Management and Marketing. I've been here Seems like it's been a long time, but it's only been 7 months. I arrived at the end of October. I came here from Plymouth State University up in beautiful New Hampshire, where I spent the last 7 years as Vice President of Enrollment, Marketing, and Student Life. Pittsburgh is home, so it was great. I've been gone for about 20 years. It was great to come back home to Pittsburgh and be here at Point Park. I just wanted to introduce myself. All things enrollment, the open houses, tours, visits, financial aid, all marketing for the university, all reports into my office. So there's 3 divisions. There's the marketing division, which handles all the marketing for enrollment and the university in general. There's the division of graduate and online enrollment, and then traditional undergraduate enrollment. So my office is on the 8th floor of Academic Hall. And I'm pleased to let you know that we are, and my thought is I'd like to come maybe once a semester to give you an update on enrollment. Enrollment's really important, right? It's bringing in that next class of freshmen that'll be here next fall. Right now our trends are good. Has anybody seen any of our ads on Instagram? Yeah, okay. Well, you're target market here, right? So you happen to fall into that category. So we've launched a brand new enrollment marketing campaign about 3 weeks ago, Point Park University, where it all comes together. We utilized got a professional crew here, film crew and video crew here, I guess about a month ago, the first week of September, and a lot of students are in those videos. A lot of students were a part of. Were any of you a part of that? Oh, there we go. Perfect. Good. Have you seen yourself? Yes. Look at her. She's like, yes, I've seen myself. So I had a call the other day. There's a story in the Globe appearing this week about the campaign, and Erin from the Globe, she said some students are wondering, they're like not studying funeral services, but their pictures with the funeral, because we're highlighting some of our programs. So we didn't necessarily match your faces with the actual programs you're studying, but we thought it was important to have actual real students in the ads. So the ads are getting a lot of pickup. We did a major media buy, basically online media. And in the past, our market had really been about 2 hours from Pittsburgh. I felt like it was important to expand that market, so we're now as far north as Buffalo, New York, as far west as Columbus, Ohio, as far east as Philadelphia, and as far south as Maryland, Virginia. And as I got here and kind of looked where our students were coming from, we have a lot of students who are coming from outside of the 2-hour radius of Pittsburgh. And so we started that campaign. That campaign will run through the end of this year. We have our second open house 2 weeks from, it's a week from this Saturday, the 4th of November. And I'm happy to say as of this morning, we have 370 people registered for that open house. That's the largest open house we've had here in 6 years. So that's good news. About 125 students registered, and then their families, friends coming with them. So my hope is, since we're still about 2 weeks away, we'll probably end up with about 400 people here on that Saturday, which is fantastic. We have a goal to bring in an incoming class next fall that's about 100 students larger than the class we brought in this fall. And one of the things we're talking about as I talk to students is the urban experience, right? The idea that we are the only school in Western Pennsylvania where you get to go to school downtown and have that experience. Good and bad, right? There's good things and bad things about that. But we're finding that a lot of students, especially some students, how many of you are from a rural area? Anybody? Was coming to Pittsburgh one of the reasons?
Yeah.
Yeah, where are you from?
West Virginia.
Okay, so I spent that last Wednesday, I drove. Anybody from northwestern Pennsylvania? Where? Oh, she's trying to figure out.
I'm northeastern.
Okay, well, that's okay. That's okay. I drove up to Warren, Pennsylvania, which is about 2.5 hours from here. It's about 20 miles from Jamestown, New York, right? It's a very rural area. I drove up there and spent the day up there on Wednesday of last week meeting. I went to a college fair and then went to 3 different high schools there and met probably about 10 students who had already applied to Point Park, a couple who were in the process of applying. And lots of the students I talked to said, look, we love it up here. It was great growing up in a small town where there's lots of woods and elk and deer and all of that. But my only goal in life is to live in a city for a while, right? So I think there's a real interest in the kind of campus that we have, right? And then lots of students interested in all of the various programs. Anybody here studying funeral science? Okay, interestingly enough, funeral science is like so popular this year, right? We're getting so many students. We have one of the best programs in the country, obviously, and one of the only programs in the Northeast where you can get a bachelor's degree and your funeral certification at the same time. But I had 2 students who were like, we're coming, we got accepted, and we made our deposit, we're coming to study funeral mortuary science at Point Park. Obviously, our COPA and all of our programs in the conservatory are very, very popular. We're seeing some real interest this year in some of our business programs and some of our new 4+1 programs for next fall. So I think it's going to be a good year. I'm excited to go out, and I spent the summer going out to high schools and meeting with superintendents and principals. And we have a couple of groups coming in, large groups of senior classes that we're bringing in for a day over the next couple of months to actually experience the university. So I'm excited about that. I'd love to be, any way I can be helpful to you all as any of the work that you do. Happy to figure out how we can work together on enrollment issues, if that's something. Also happy to hear feedback anytime on marketing, what you think we should be saying about the university, what we aren't saying about the university. My door's always open. So I love student government. I was the advisor for the student senate at my previous university for 5 years, and they meet on Monday nights at 7 p.m. So when I talked to one of my former student government officers, they were like, man, you guys meet at 3 o'clock on the, right? Everybody had to come back to campus at 7 p.m. So they thought that was very cool that you guys meet during the day. But I just wanted to introduce myself. I think we're doing something. I think I'm sponsoring your pumpkin.
Yes. Unfortunately, President Palumbo knows that.
Yeah, you're doing some kind
Volunteering news. Do you know anything else about that?
Yeah, we're
speak
doing
up on
it
that?
tomorrow, 16.
Okay, so I bought your pumpkins.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So, yes, give me a hand for blowing the pumpkins. I'm happy to help any kind of time I can. I believe that a strong student government association makes a strong university, so I am here. Always happy to answer questions anytime something comes up and you'd like me to come by and address an issue or talk about anything that we have going on. I'm happy to do that. So enjoy the rest of your meeting, and my contact information is anywhere you look on the website. Feel free to send me an email or stop by my office anytime. Questions for me about anything related to what I do?
Yeah, so was there any peak of interest in the sports communications major?
Yes.
That's what I'm in right now, and I know it's more brand new and there's a lot of things.
So it
that
is.
are
So
trying to
in fact, I should have come up and got you. We have a tour right now, and the 2 young men here from, they're 2 students, they're both potential baseball players,
Okay.
and they're both here to come into that program. So we are on that along those lines. One of the things we hadn't done here before, at least in the last 5 or 6 years, we'd done a lot of general marketing for the university, right? We are now doing program-specific marketing. So, and we started with 7 programs. We're adding 7 more in November and another 7. That's what sports communications is one of them. But what that does is it allows students to who really already know what they're interested in, right? That we're going to serve them ads. And you know how and you guys are smart, but you know how when you like go home and you get on your phone and you're like, damn, they just sent me an ad. I just got an ad about X, and I was just looking at X in Target today, right? And you're like, so one of the things we do is we do all of that ad serving based on your interests, right? So it's really interesting. Last Wednesday, as I said, I was up in Warren, and Warren's a town of 20,000 people, right? There were 3 high schools within about a 10-mile radius. So we're doing YouTube advertising. So if you log on to YouTube, you're going to see our ad if we're serving it to you based on your interest. So I had our agency geofence the town of Warren, basically, on Monday, Tuesday, before I got there on Wednesday. That meant that students who came to the fair on Wednesday morning, they walked in and I was standing at the table and it said Point Park, and the first kid came over and he says, I can't believe you're here. I just saw an ad for you last night. And I said, yes, I know, I sent you that ad, right? It's kind of scary when you think about it, but it makes a difference, right? Because they already had seen something from us. And we were literally marketing 3 or 4 of the programs that we thought those students might be interested in. They came up to the table and say, I was just reading about X because I saw your ad on Instagram. Isn't that weird? And I was like, no, it's not weird. We pay an agency to do that. So we're doing a lot more of that. And hopefully that's going to make a big difference.
Well, I'd love to help in any sort of marketing for the major. If that's
So
an option.
I'm going to give you a business card. Anybody else want a card? Wow.
I'll take one.
Okay, so you at least make me feel good and say you'll take one, right?
I've actually met you before.
Yes, well, you have.
I'll take one.
Anything, anybody. And again, if you're interested in helping, if you're interested in being a tour guide, I got lots of them.
It's a nice card.
Thank you. Those are our new cards. Any other questions? Yeah.
Do you have like a target, like total undergraduate enrollment and like a time frame for that, or are you just going at it like year by year?
Well, yeah, we go at it. So the way we do enrollment goals are we do them year by year. But you know, this year we had an incoming class of 655, I believe, right? And I think it's in higher ed you do then, and basically 30 days after classes start you do a final count, right? Because then you look at what students might leave and that kind of thing. Higher ed we typically call that R plus 30, right? It's enrollment plus 30 days. And I think we're ending up with a first year class this year of 653. That was 100 less than our goal was for this year. Our goal was 750, right? So we didn't meet our goal. One of the reasons I came here is to look at why that happened and what we can do. And part of that was we weren't doing a lot right on the marketing side, so we literally put together what we thought was the new campaign that we needed and then expanding the markets. So our goal for next fall, so a year from now, is 785. And then that's going to be our goal for the next 2 years, right? Our perfect incoming class size would be around 850, which I hope we could meet over the next 4 years. That's a big jump from 650, right? So we do set our goals yearly, but then we look at a total enrollment. And, you know, I think everybody here agrees that undergraduate, and that's just undergraduate transfer first year students, right? Doesn't count graduate students, it doesn't count online students. So I think, you know, a really good on-ground, in-person residential size, you know, would be around 3,800, right? And right now we're about 3,000. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Other questions? Yeah.
Yeah, my question is, I see that your goal for the university is to keep increasing the amount of students that come in throughout each enrollment cycle.
Yep.
What happens if the number of students is higher than your goal? Does that mean that the university will plan to, I don't know, get new buildings?
Yeah. So I think that's a great question, right? So I think one of the things we look at is, so first of all, we as a university right now, given our current footprint, right, in downtown Pittsburgh and the number of faculty and staff and students that we have, we couldn't put together, and actually I'd love it, right? But if I was able to recruit a class of 1,200 next fall, right, we wouldn't be able to accommodate that, right? So you look at your goals based on, first we need to have a goal that allows us to use all the facilities that we have, which we're not doing right now, right? We have some empty dorm rooms, that kind of thing. But yeah, part of a growth strategy, and next Monday, I think it is, at 3 o'clock in the PNC, in the Playhouse, we're unveiling our 10-year strategic plan, right? Part of that strategic plan is, if we're going to do significant enrollment growth, we have to look at how do we keep the student experience, right? Where you're going to live, the kind of food you're going to eat, are you going to have enough professors to teach your classes, enough staff to keep everything going to meet those goals, right? So, yeah, I think that, you know, if we were going to be a school of, let's say, 6,000, undergraduate as opposed to 3,500, that's going to mean a lot of things have to happen for us to be able to meet the needs of those students. The last thing you want to do from an enrollment standpoint, right, is bring a student here and then they don't have the experience and they're going to leave, right? So that's the retention part of this, right? So I'm much more anxious to bring in a group of students who want to be here and who can succeed here than just bringing in an extra 100 students who aren't going to stay because we promised them something they're not going to get here, right? There's nothing worse, in my view, than me, telling a great story to a student and their families, them making all of the adjustments they have to make and take out loans or whatever and come here and be like, you lied to me. So that's why when I talk to a student, it's really important to talk about what it means to be at an urban campus. One story, this summer, had a young woman from West Virginia. Her college was closing down. So unfortunately, she was from a small, a religious school in West Virginia that was struggling financially and they just shut down. And she was thinking of coming here, right? So we had actually made some outreach to some of those students. Her and her mom came to campus. She was a delightful young woman, right? And her mom was like, I really think, she might enjoy Point Park. And we got talking a little bit. And she wanted to study nursing. We don't have a nursing program, right? Now, I could have said to her, well, we could get you into biology and you could do, right? But that's bullshit, right? There are schools that have nursing programs. That's where and then secondly, she's like, I'm really not comfortable in a city. And I was like, you know what? Let's have a real conversation here, right? Mom, I think, really was thinking at Point Park. I think her mom had a brother who'd gone here. And so I sat them down in my office and I said to her, look, I would love to have you come to Point Park, right? And I'll do anything you need if that's really what you want to do. But I said, I think there's a better place for you. And I gave her 2 recommendations, both of which were rural and had nursing programs that she could transfer right into. And I said, I'll even make a call to my counterparts at those schools to tell them you're coming to see them. And she ended up at one of them, and that's where she belonged, right? I can't sleep at night if I'm having the conversation with her and her mom and say, oh, Point Park's the place, when in reality, it's not the place for her at all. It's more important for me that we find the place for the student that's going to succeed here and get what they want here than just to bring you in just for the sake of saying we got another student. That was a long answer to that question. I'm sorry. Anything else? Well, good. Call me, text me, stop by my office, and invite me back again.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Alright, we'll now move on to our first open floor. Does anyone have anything for first open floor? Steph Whalen.
Yeah, I was curious, ever since I left student government, because I feel like you guys just approve funds and, allocate shit and all that. I was wondering if you guys have done anything on campus with administrators and if you're working towards a goal here, or do you have any goals in particular?
Steph Gracie.
Well, actually, for your information, if you looked at your email today, you would see that SGA has sent out a form for culinary, in which I have received almost 100 so far. And with that, I will be meeting with Christy and Palo in a few weeks to bring up this in a PowerPoint format to try to improve everything on campus, as well as a lot of us are actually doing a lot. If you came back, you would be in the loop and you would see, but I know a lot of people on campus haven't been paying attention like they should. That's pretty much it from me and my standpoint. Does anybody else want to say something?
Are you gonna have interviews with people and then you're gonna show them? You know what I mean? Are you gonna have student input as well? You're bringing students to the table with you to fight this?
Yeah. If you fill it out, the last question is, would you like to be a part of our culinary committee?
Okay, so that's good.
We have a lot of students.
Well, I mean, how do you know that if you don't fill it out? I don't have your input, and that's one less student that I don't have.
That's fine. I'll swing and go from meet with people finding to myself.
Okay.
We have gathered a lot of student surveys now. For example, for IT, a bunch of other issues. Senator Mahan.
We also reject funds for things. Okay, we don't just.
Oh, I know you do. I was in it. Yeah, thank you.
But Actually, though, I do have a thing that I'm working on that I bring up pretty much every meeting. I say I'm working on it. I'm not working on it yet because I'm kind of behind on some homework stuff. But when I get caught up, just you wait. I'm going to talk to every single student in this school and ask them to sign a petition to get solar panels on these buildings.
That's a lot of money, man. That's all I gotta say.
Well, I mean, we approve money for things, right? So
Okay, right, yeah.
you yourself.
Okay. Good idea, good idea.
Communications director, go.
Yeah, alright, so Mark told me to relay this information because he's not here, so I have a lot of information about our Wi-Fi survey that we sent out. 234 responses. The main question was, have you experienced issues on campus with Wi-Fi? 96% of the students that filled out the survey said yes, and 3% said no, which I don't know how they said no. But we just have a lot of like different locations. A lot of people kind of just put pretty much everywhere in Lawrence Hall, specific classrooms, pretty much every single boulevard, apartment, and floor, a lot of the studios, West Penn, so on and so forth. We just put out a thing on Instagram today talking about the Wi-Fi. But yeah, a lot of good things hopefully coming. And Tim Wilson will be here next Monday. So make sure, Mark said in the Discord, to send him questions. If you're not in the committee, still send him questions if you have something to ask about Wi-Fi. But yeah, just get ready for Tim Wilson next Monday and really have questions ready, because I have a few.
Dingiski.
Two things that have been said. So one of the feedbacks that has come back so far is that a lot of the concerns are when you all are moving from one port to the next. So if that's not the case, like if you're having struggles where like in your room, every time you're in your room it drops or whatever, keep that in mind, please, because I think they're trying to say, oh, the issues are as you're traveling, you're losing, but that's clearly not the case. We all are aware of that. So that's one, just to make sure you have that ready for next week, so it's not something else. And the second is, just so you know, we don't actually own some of the roofs at the university. So one of the things you got to look into is that, believe it or not, a lot of corporations sell their rooftops because we're in a city, and so it's really weird. It's one of those things I learned a long time ago working here, is that we don't actually own the rights to all of our rooftops.
That's
Just a
crazy.
piece of that, just a piece to add to as you're working through this.
So what you're saying is you do own some of them.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Which ones and where they are and whether they have a lot of sun on them may be part of the things we got to work through.
Okay.
I love Riley.
What's the purpose of that? What do they use the rooms for?
So like way back in the day, we would sell them to like AT&T, because then they would put towers and stuff on them. So we would sell for those kind of things. It's for relays within the city and things of that nature. That's where it originally came from.
Park helicopter.
No, we don't have a helicopter. We're not landing stuff on the roofs, nothing like that. But it's more like that. Like we sell our space for like cell towers and things of that nature. Yeah, it is. Well, I was very surprised.
No, Mark isn't here, but I wanted to thank Mark for getting a lot of the student organization leaders together for me. We had some great conversation about domestic violence trainings that are coming up here on campus. I'm getting next year ready, 2024, 2025 calendar ready for next year. We are starting this Friday with our freshman prevention classes, which will be in Lawrence Hall, 200 downstairs, down the street. And we need some student volunteers. One of the things the campus program made for is a student CCRT, a student coordinated community response team. That team is basically the leaders, other students who are interested in training and helping to train or advocating for domestic violence victims or sexual assault or stalking. And if you have an interest in doing that, please let me know. Michael told me the other day I have money for food to feed you when I'm doing the focus groups for student CCRT. So your ideas, your input is what is very vital to making this successful. I have a couple students, where's Amy? There she is. I have a couple students who are, that student CCRT would be helping to do filmmaking content, for our website, for our social media pages. So anybody who has interest in writing, social media, can be a part of that CCRT to give recommendations on the content of our marketing campaigns and things like that. So reach out to me. We are working on getting a couple of folks in my office, and that has to be approved by the Department of Justice. So, but if you're interested in the CCRT, I do have cards here, or you can email me at mlewis, Lewis, at pointpark.edu, to see if you're interested in a student CCRT. Thank you.
Does anyone else have anything for our first open floor? Alright, we're gonna now move on to reports of the cabinet. President Palumbo is not here. Does he have anything to report? Staff Gracie?
Exec cab today at 5. It's gonna be a long one.
I got class. So.
Yeah, I also have class.
That's what I was to report.
Okay. That's fair. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. As for my report, I'm planning on creating an Adobe ad hoc committee here in New Business today. I do have the power to do so, as the Constitution, any member can create an ad hoc committee. So I plan on motioning that in New Business. Me and Mark went over the results of the Wi-Fi survey and compiled that list that Communications Director Bova had and read out some of the responses. There are plenty of copies in the SGA office, I believe, and I believe that was also posted into the Discord as well. Me and Mark have had we had a few meetings last week. We met with some people within the conservatory. I believe Keisha Malama we met with, and then someone else, I forget what her name was. Mark would have known, but Kim Martin. We talked about recording rights, and unfortunately right now it's not looking very well. They basically just told us that we can't get it done. So we're trying to figure out where to go from there, and what happens after that will happen. We also met with Palo last week in light of our meeting with the president. We were supposed to have, he was out, so we met with Palo instead. So we had a very productive meeting with Dean Palo about the Wi-Fi and IT issues, and then tomorrow me and Mark, as student representatives, will be attending the Board of Trustees meeting. That's all I have to say. Chief of Staff Bracy, do you have anything to report?
I do. Today I officially submitted my document for Pioneer Community Day. We will be having it April 11th in Village Park from 1 to 5. It's a Thursday, and it's the Thursday before senior week, so it's 2 Thursdays before graduation, which is exciting. I can't wait. Today in Exec Cab, we're going to be talking more about the actual theme and going from there. Within the next month or so, I'm sure I'll be creating a PCD ad hoc committee. So if anybody wants to join that to help me plan it and execute all these amazing, fun ideas, that'd be great. Another thing I wanted to talk about that I'll talk about more during committee reports. I did send out the form. I'll be sending it out again later on in the week just so I can get as many responses as possible. This is very important. And then I wanted to talk about attendance. Make sure you are messaging me as well when you are not coming, because I do take attendance. I hate the fact that I find out half an hour before the meeting who's not coming because somebody else got it. Copy me on those emails as well if you send them to Trevor or Mark, or just text me. You can always text me. I don't care. Just let me know, please. That's it.
Thank you, Chief of Staff Bracy. Me, Chief of Staff Bracy, and President Pro Tempore Graysinger will also try and figure out a way to coordinate responses to people who are not going to be able to make the meeting to better alleviate that issue. Parliamentarian Reeves, do you have anything to report?
Yeah, so you guys saw it already in the Discord, but we do have the pumpkin carving bonding activity tomorrow from 6 to 8. It'll be in the SGA office or business, and if outside, we'll be in Village Park, and we'll obviously update you. The Discord, I can email you guys for that too. And then the big little stuff, Dakota and I are working on creating a form, as we already had the meeting of what we wanted it, and then we'll send that out. And then Trevor and I organized the vigil, which we ended up moving to today, because first the class get here. So that's from 7:30 to 9:30 today. It's for anybody to do it for the what's been going on. Doesn't matter from
We just
which
want
part.
peace. It's vision for peace.
Yeah, for peace. Light a candle. Come get some resources. Yeah.
What time?
7:30 to 9:30 in Village Park. What?
Pioneer Ambassadors have their thing tonight.
The
at
whole
Mark
time?
Park. Yep. 7 to 11.
Wow.
That's a lot of hours.
Wow. Well, if you can sneak away for a second and light a candle, please do. If not, yeah, that's
Parliamentarian Reeves. Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Chair Broyard.
I did send like Amy the list of things for getting a DEI committee started. I did on Discord. Yeah. I can also email it if you want.
Yeah.
Or text it to you.
Yeah, I probably
Good. But I'll just resend it to you. So we'll try and get that rolling by next week-ish. It's gonna be Mondays, right? Oh,
So, yeah.
so try and get that rolling, so then we can start thinking of things. And also, I am planning on getting all of the affiliation groups together for not, I don't want to say a mixer, but a mixer thing, just so we can talk about issues we have on campus, but also maybe hopefully get sodas and chips and stuff, just so it's a little less formal, so it's more of a safe space for us to talk about things. I think last year ISLA hosted the coalition with all these groups, and it went pretty well. It just had one meeting and then we never talked again, but I want to get that going. Yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you. Recording Secretary Foxon, do you have anything to report?
I have nothing to report.
Alright, thank you. Treasurer Carter is not here today, but they do have a report. They sent it to me. Let me just pull it up.
Do you want me to just read it?
You can read it, Frankie.
I have it since they go
Yeah,
back and forth.
turn off.
Fall 2 allocations are made. As we know, no one submitted any appeals. Appeals do reopen the conversation to reevaluate the Finance Committee's decision. Appeals are offered to those who have changes made to their requests or had items cut. No appeals means people might request emergency funding for items that have been denied, which is not the point. That's what appeals are for. We have moved into a month-long period of reallocation, repurposing the funds groups have been granted to suit their needs if plans change. When the fall semester ends, I'll be totaling up all leftover funds and moving them forward to the spring. This means we may have more funds available to allocate to clubs or leftover money for our own SGA initiatives. If you have an SGA project in mind that will require funds, please prepare an outline for me so I may plan accordingly. I anticipate having $2,000 to $3,000 of rollover to budget out for the spring.
Communications Director Bogo, do you have anything to report?
Yeah, so we didn't do a podcast today, but we just did a bunch of reels that we're gonna start posting out in the next week. Dean Gieske is gonna be on next week, and that's pretty much it.
Alright, graphic design coordinator Fazell is not here today. They were excused. I don't know the specifics of what they put in the agenda, but they wanted to talk about Halloween graphics, mocktail mix-off decorations, and weekday announcements graphic, but without any descriptions of any of those items. We're just left to read those off out of the agenda. And President Pro Tempore Graysinger is not here, but they did say that there's a new office hours sheet in the office. So make sure to fill that out whenever you guys do your office hours. Senator Samora.
Also, we have been working on the resource sheet. They're all printed out in the office. They all look like this, and they just have a list of resources that students can use. So feel free to take a few and just give it out and put it in places where people can see them. We have also been working on some tabling events and just overall information that needs to be put out for students to know the resources that we have. So yeah, that's fun.
Thank you, Senator Samora, for that report. That's more of a committee report for future reference, but nonetheless very appreciated that report was given. Which moves us on to our next item on the agenda, reports of the standing committees. Rules Committee. Does the Rules Committee have anything to report?
No, we'll save it for next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Finance Committee, as stated earlier with the emergency funding, you want to read it out again?
I got it.
All right.
Hello, my beloved senators. My sincerest apologies for my absence today. We have our first instance of emergency funding on this fine day. The American Society for Civil Engineering requested $78.92 for pizzas and sodas. I suggest voting in favor of this request. ASCE reached out to me prior to the Fall 2 deadline for clarification on their request. The club has a private account through the engineering department, so we decided they would not need SGA funds. Their treasurer did not learn until after allocations that they would not be able to purchase the pizzas they had planned to have for their event using their club debit card. Because ASCE has been communicative, what's that? Yeah, that.
They communicated.
That has an unprecedented situation and has been cooperative and compliant with our processes, I feel this request should be granted. We will definitely get more emergency funding requests, as no one eligible to submit appeals did. This is one that I feel is truly warranted. Granting this emergency funding leaves us with $817.14 left for emergencies, which should be plenty given there were no appeals. Sorry I can't be with you to take questions. Hopefully I've given you everything you need to make an informed decision. Best, MC Carter.
Thank you, Chief Staff Gracie. And on that, usually when MC or any treasurer makes a decision on emergency funding, usually it's with the advice of Keely. So I would assume that Keely signed off on this. I'm not speaking for her in any way, but most likely she would want this to go through. Next, we'll move to Communications Committee. Does Communications Committee have anything to report?
Yeah, so everyone stay on the lookout in the Discord. Jacob and Zane and the rest of the committee should be reaching out for senator intro videos, so just be on your toes for that. That's pretty much it. I don't have anything else.
Student Innovation Committee, Senator Samora, is there anything else other than what you already reported for Student Innovation?
Can you repeat that?
Is there anything other than what you already reported for Student Innovation that hasn't been?
No, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. Color Art Committee?
So today we sent out a fun, cute little form for everybody to fill out. To my surprise, we actually have 74 responses, and it's only been about 2 hours, which is pretty good for this university. If you guys can please get your friends to take this, I really do need as many responses as possible, because I do plan on making a PowerPoint to show to Christy and Palo, because there are some changes that we do need to make, because people cannot continue to go to get physically ill from eating food on campus. So.
Thank you, Chief of Staff Gracie. That concludes reports of the standing committees. Reports of senators. Do any senators have anything to report? Alright. Report them on old business. There is no old business. So we'll move into new business. We have the emergency funding request for the American Society of Civil Engineering. That MC, the Treasurer Carter, requested that the Finance Committee, that legislative body approve. Are we at quorum? Wait. Alright. Since we are not at quorum, this request cannot be approved and is automatically tabled for next week. And so is the creation of the Adobe Ad Hoc Committee, as we also need quorum to vote on that as well. That is also tabled for next week as well. I remind the legislative body that if you need to leave the meeting early, to please let myself, President Pro Tempore Graysinger, Chief of Staff Gracie know, so that we can anticipate this in the future. But that creation of the Ad Hoc Committee is automatically tabled as well. We'll move into our final open floor. Does anyone have anything final, the last open floor? Alright. If no one has anything final open floor, we'll move to announcements. I put a couple announcements on here. Mocktail Mix-Off is October 25th, Wednesday, from 5 to 7 p.m. in the Lawrence Hall lobby. SGA, Chief of Staff Gracie.
I just had a quick question. One, do we even know what drink we're making? And two, do we even have any of the stuff for it?
We're making the
Presidential pina colada.
presidential pina colada.
It's already handled.
Okay.
Don't
All
worry.
the stuff
Okay.
is,
Mark ordered it.
yeah.
All we need is a blender.
SGA will be there. A bunch of other organizations will be there. I know Shalom's going to be there as well.
I remember.
A lot of the organizations are going to be there. I believe they have like a costume contest usually at Mocktail Mix-Off, if I'm not mistaken. That's just what I read. Yes. It's a really good time. You get to interact with a lot of the student organizations and try some good mocktails. The other thing that I put up here is WPPJ Rockathon that occurs every year from this year it's 5 p.m. on October 24th to 5 p.m. on October 26th. It's 48 hours of continuous live radio broadcast for charity. The proceeds all go to the Early Learning Institute. It's a great cause. Be sure to stop by, show your support. From Jamaica with Love will definitely be there from 10 a.m. to 7 to 10 a.m. on Thursday. So into that, come stop by and just donate if you feel like helping a good cause. The Early Learning Institute. That's Lawrence Hall, second floor, outside the Point Cafe. And I have another announcement of my own. In addition to that Shalom Vigil that's going on tonight, Shalom has a general meeting from 5 to 6 on Thursday in the Lawrence Hall 4th floor conference room. With that said, does anyone else have any other announcents? Senator Adams.
Also on October 25th from 8:30 to 11:45, Ghostlight Theater Company will be hosting a screening of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and we'll also be having a costume contest. So if you want to dress up, come out with friends, we'll have food, and just watch the movie. I'll be running the event, so say hi if you would like to say hello.
Time and day.
October 25th from 8:30 to 11:45.
Communications Director Boba.
Yeah, so our men's and women's basketball team have their first home game at CCAC Allegheny on Thursday. It's across the river on the North Shore. I don't know if there's shuttles, but I can get back to that. And senior night for soccer is on Saturday. Well, it's senior morning, not senior nights. Women's is at 11 and men's is at 1:30 at Highmark. It's a lot closer than CCAC, and I, along with the rest of the athletics, would appreciate it if people showed up.
Are there shuttles for that?
I don't know.
That's not related to the school.
I hope so.
Alright.
Also, it's like not even a 10-minute walk.
Well, that too. I was just asking in case.
And you have free shuttles, so if you take the T to Station Square, it's free. And it's like a 2-minute walk from there.
U-Pass was accepted at Station
Mhm.
Square?
It's accepted everywhere.
Okay.
Really, even for the T?
Everywhere. Busing and trains.
Oh, I thought it was
All
just
Port Authority.
But also,
whatever
we don't
it's
have to
called.
pay for the T
It's
downtown
regional
because it's
transport.
free. So, except at Station Square. That's where it's not free.
Well,
I didn't know
it's
that.
not free, but everybody can use their
I
ID.
use your bus pass.
Well, yeah, but like if you just go on the U-Pass ride, like you have your monthly pass. I use it
Okay.
probably 3 times a week, and I don't have any problems, and I haven't paid for anything since August.
All right. Thank you, Chief of Staff Bova. Chief of Staff. It's been a day.
You can take
Director
my
Bova. Senator Samora.
Yeah, today there's also the Latinx Cabaret at 9:30. So if you want to go and see some Latin performances, there'll be some food from 9:30 until about 10:30.
9:30 to 10:30 in the Rao Theater on the 3rd floor of Playhouse. Check out the Latinx Instagram.
Theater in the Playhouse.
Yeah, it's a little small theater.
So like if you go to the Playhouse.
We'll show you after I'll show you after.
You can get there from this floor of the library.
There are tickets to the event. It is suggested that you buy a ticket, but are y'all accepting
free.
walk-ups? Yeah, it's free.
You
But
should reserve a seat.
yeah,
Reserve.
it's suggested that you reserve, but I'm sure they'll accept walk-ups and yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any other announcements? There are no other announcements. Our next meeting is October 30th in Lawrence Hall 200, as stated earlier. Tim Wilson from IT will be there, so please come prepared with questions if you have any. With that said, this meeting is adjourned at 4:08 p.m.